Hey there, I'm Zack Attack, and now I'm officially a marine biologist because I just graduated from college. And I started thinking, what did I wish I knew before I got involved in my degree? Well, I started thinking about what I wanted to do, or what I wanted to know, and then I started thinking about other people as well. So I ended up interviewing a few people and sending a few emails out. In this video, I talked to my friends Jillian Morris-Brake and her husband Duncan Brake and asked them what did they wish they knew before they became marine biologists.
I think probably the biggest thing that would have been helpful is seeing more women involved. When I was growing up, it was Jeannie Clark and Sylvia Earle, really the only women that I was aware of that were doing kind of work that I was interested in. So I think it would have been great to be able to have a connection with other women, and so I think that's kind of why I do as much as I do, encouraging young girls and women to realize that you can do this, and you absolutely can, whatever it is, whether it's shark-based or just marine science in general, shark diving, anything ocean-based, this is for women as well. And so really to have that and have seen that, I think that would have been a really, I mean, it didn't stop me, but I think it would have been really kind of, to have more mentors would have been really helpful.
Before getting involved in marine sciences, I wish I'd known to get more experience, to tell you the truth. Like at a younger age, it can be anything. It can be absolutely anything, from taking part with like a local community course, or even with a sports group, getting in the water. Anything that's going to kind of put you on that track, because when you actually get there, especially working out in field schools or research stations, actually having like a wider range of skills and experiences to kind of set you on that path really helps in the long run.
I think one of the biggest challenges has been, again, like being a woman. I think sometimes it's harder in this field. There aren't as many women. Sometimes I think there's still it's very much a male-dominated industry in all the shark stuff that I've done. So I think for young women who are interested, don't be discouraged. You can do this. You absolutely should, and believe in that if you want to do this, this is for you, and all the more reason you should be involved. Just because you're a woman, I think that probably makes you better at it, actually. So go for it. Don't let somebody tell you you can't do it because you are a woman.
Let me think. Well, I started off in Scotland, which is quite limited to getting out in the water and jumping in the water. So I apparently didn't think it was cold enough there, so I then got a contract and went down to work in Antarctica for 3 years. So that was a little dumb at the time, but you know, it was a great experience. And I still feel like Antarctica, some places out there, are still probably one of the true Edens left in the world. Like you can walk on a beach and be surrounded by penguins and sea lions, and they just don't see humans as a threat, so they just allow you to immerse yourself in their environment without any issues at all. So I feel like environmentally, to start off with, that was some pretty harsh challenges to deal with, especially working full years down in Antarctica and the Falklands in South Georgia. Is basically the climate there can be pretty aggressive, especially around the winter, which is usually our summer, is when the winter's down there. The hours get very few hours in the day, and then the sunlight very few, and then it gets really bloody cold. Yeah. But I think too, one of the big tricky things to deal with is people's perceptions as well. Because when you turn around and say, like, especially when I was growing up, sharks were kind of cool, but most people thought you were kind of crazy for liking sharks, you know? Like, everybody was loving on the dolphins and loving on penguins and stuff, and when I was like, you know, oh, I really like sharks, people would be looking at you like you had two heads. Yeah. So I think that perception, people's perceptions in sharks, that was a little bit difficult to deal with when I was like a little boy, but then obviously as I've grown up, I think a lot of people now realize how cool sharks are, and people's perception is starting to change, which is awesome.
So my biggest piece of advice for aspiring marine biologists is volunteer and get internships, get experience. A lot of people out there are going to have the exact same degree, but if you know how to drive a boat, you know how to fish, you know how to tag, you know how to dive, you can use a camera, you can fix things. Get hands-on experience, because that really makes you an asset, and you bring much more to the table if you're applying for a position either as an intern or in a job position or for a master's program, anything like that. So volunteer, get out there, get experience. That's really going to be the biggest piece of advice I can give anyone who's trying to get more involved in this field.
Good ideas for marine science. I think I already kind of mentioned, get as much experience as possible. Volunteer. Like I did a lot of voluntary work before I actually got any sort of paid gigs. On my filming side of stuff, it's the same thing. Just because you're not getting paid to use your camera, go out and film. Go and film and get as much experience filming the subjects that you're filming, getting in the water with those animals. Any opportunity you get, because when you actually get that opportunity to show what you're worth, you then have the experience behind you.
My name is Jillian Morris. I'm a marine biologist, shark conservationist, and the founder of Sharks for Kids. So our Sharks for Kids program, the goal is to create the next generation of shark advocates through education, outreach, and adventure. We do this by providing materials for schools, classrooms, teachers, really to help them bring these animals into the classroom, get kids excited, and change fear to fascination. We've made free materials, we visit schools. We also offer opportunities for students to get out in the field to assist us with tagging projects and snorkel and see these animals up close. We really believe that kids have a voice, and we want to help give them the tools and empower them to speak up knowing they can make a difference.
So I'm Duncan Brake. I am an underwater cameraman. I do a lot of shoots for Nat Geo, Discovery, BBC. I got a couple of shows on Shark Week this year. I'm also media director for Sharks for Kids, which is an education outreach non-profit. Kind of get kids interested in sharks and the rest of the oceans. You guys should check out the website sharksforkids.com. You should also check out Norman the Nurse Shark, which is a pretty cool book we just wrote. And then also we've just put together this really cool new book. It's called Sharks to the Shallows, and it's all these species that you find around shallow water and also on the coastline of Florida. That was written by Jeffrey Carrier. We did a bunch of the photos with Andy Mersch and Jillian Morris in there as well. So have a peek at that.
That was awesome. Jill, Duncan, thank you for allowing me to take time away from your busy schedule. I know you guys are super busy with all your traveling that you have to do around the world for underwater photography, as well as working with Sharks for Kids. Thank you for allowing me to interview you, and thank you, the viewer, for taking the time to watch this, and hopefully you learned a little something. I'll catch you on the hook.